So not only did MSNBC air this ad twice, it then was left to, what's his name, Willie Geist, who's another, he's not as bad as Joe and Mika, to actually point out that the very essence of the propaganda MSNBC is putting out there is not factual. Let's play MSNBC clip 2.
Ads like that certainly aren't going to hurt him, are they?
Yeah, remember the conventional wisdom going into the second debate was he was so poor in the first debate, he better have a great second debate or else. Well, he didn't have a great second debate. He had a fine second debate, and he's still doing well, holding his position at the top of the polls. I took away what you took away, was let's build on Obamacare. That was a line in the sand with Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who've said again and again they want to get rid of private insurance and have a Medicare for all plan. He was reminding people he thinks that's a bad idea. I would be careful with him on this electability question, though. Who's the person who can beat Donald Trump? It's me, something Joe Biden said yesterday as well. We have that Fox News poll from last week that shows not only Joe Biden beating Donald Trump, but Bernie Sanders able to make that case, Elizabeth Warren able to make that case, Kamala Harris able to make that case on electability. There is a big group of Democrats who can raise their hand and say, I am the one as well who can beat Donald Trump.
Willie Geist. So funny. Joe and Mika are practically slobbering over Joe Biden. By the way, let's not forget, these are the two clowns that basically gave Donald Trump more airtime than anybody else. No other show gave more airtime to Donald Trump in 2015, in particular, when he announced his candidacy, than these two. Donald Trump was calling in his pajamas, eating bacon, egg, and cheeses in the morning to Morning Joe. And now they're suddenly the captains of the resistance against Donald Trump. How quickly the moral imperative changes for Comcast's finest. But Willie Geist is pointing out, slow your roll on electability because, there's a bunch of other candidates who are very beating Donald Trump. And that Real Clear Politics link, the Real Clear Politics link of Bernie Sanders head-to-head polls against Donald Trump, for some reason, this electability discussion, for some reason, they keep removing Bernie Sanders from this discussion, even though Bernie Sanders has a longer track record of head-to-head polls against Donald Trump, dating back to 2016. These are just some of the most recent. Fox News, recent. Sanders, up, 9 points? Sanders up 9, Sanders up 8, Sanders up 5, Sanders up 1, Sanders up 2, Sanders up 7, Sanders up 1, Sanders up 9, Sanders up 6, Sanders up 8. That is an average of rounded to 6. But it's Joe Biden who's the most electable. Who, by the way, Joe Biden has only one direction to go head-to-head against Donald Trump, and that's down. Because Donald Trump, part of his political wizardry, and I don't mean I'm not defending Donald Trump. He's not a good leader, but he's a damn good politician. He's a damn good marketer. Is sticking these names to his opponents in toxic ways. He is going to call Joe Biden TPP Joe. He's going to call Joe Biden NAFTA Joe because Donald Trump understands what is the most important things to these voters in the Rust Belt, which is not Vladimir Putin, it was not James Comey, it was the fact that their jobs have been offshored for 3 decades now. Most of these journalists, certainly Joe and Mika, are not traveling to the streets and the towns and the cities in Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, that look like episodes of The Walking Dead. And I don't mean to mock those areas, but I've been there. Closed down storefronts, closed down plants, closed down youth centers, no economic activity, pretty much where it was bustling in the 1970s. Yet, Joe Biden, who basically voted for every single thing that led to that, you don't think that's going to become an issue during the campaign? You don't think people are going to look at Trump versus him and just be like, we don't think Trump's doing it for us, but this guy hasn't been on the right side of the issues. We're just not going to come. We're either going to vote for Trump or screw it. It's the same thing. Hillary versus Trump. I don't want either.
It's like, I'll just do another 4 years.
because I know those kinds of voters in Michigan, in Wisconsin, and Ohio, and Pennsylvania. So I'm not one of these truthers. Joe Biden is currently leading against Donald Trump, and his poll numbers are good right now. But it's almost as if they just want to end the primary now and declare Joe Biden is the most electable, when, frankly, if you look at these polls, if you read the polls, majority of people aren't even aware or fully knowledgeable about Joe Biden's Senate record. I would venture to guess 40 to 50% of those people, maybe more, have no idea that he voted for NAFTA, the bankruptcy bill, crime bill. Remember, most people are not plugged into the campaign yet. Most people are not political diehards like you or I. And based on what I saw in 2016, I had the pleasure or displeasure of being at a whole lot of Trump rallies. He had them at NAFTA, and he blanketed Hillary Clinton very, very tightly with NAFTA, TPP, and basically being part of the coastal elite and the Washington, D.C. corporatists. And he's going to do the same thing to Joe Biden. Whether the economy is good or bad, unless the economy falls off a cliff, might have a recession, might not. So I want to play one last clip because it just shows how it's not even at this point out of touch. It's intentionally aloof. Intentionally aloof. These MSNBC people are on. This is Casey Hunt. Wish you well. About to give birth, I'm told. So no knock on you, Casey. Hope you have a nice, healthy delivery and all that. But you're totally, totally wrong on politics. Let's play this.
I think for Joe Biden, it's a similar thing, but these polls are showing that he does have that quality that we were all wondering if he could actually hold on to when he first got into this race. I mean, the polling has consistently showed people seem willing to stick by him, and I think you really see that in the ad that they laid out. I mean, they are making, as the Reverend pointed out, a case for it's the return to normalcy case, right? It's the Democratic Party has been split the last 2 years, really, of Trump's administration on, how do we beat him? Do we throw out this system? Do we essentially make the same type of argument that Trump made in 2016 and say we got to start all over? Or do we argue, hey, what people want is stability, continuity, make America boring again? And I think you're seeing, obviously, Joe Biden stake that territory out in an eloquent way.
Make America boring again. That
would do it.
That is the bumper sticker to defeat a quasi-fascist. Make America boring again.
That energy to get people out the vote.
You know what's remarkable about this? Hillary Clinton's entire case in 2016 was Trump is the Antichrist, vote for me. Trump is the Antichrist, vote for me.
I'm with her. Good.
And Joe Biden's apparent case, and we haven't even gotten to his wife and the thing she said yesterday, which I couldn't believe. I could not believe. So let me get this straight. You had in 2016 a candidate with serious on-the-ground enthusiasm issues. You had a candidate in 2016 with serious trustworthiness issues. You had a candidate who was intentionally her campaign was booking small venues because she couldn't fill out larger crowds. You had a candidate who essentially was saying, without saying it, was saying, eat your broccoli or you get this guy. And she lost in pretty resounding fashion. I mean, you could say all you want, 70,000 votes. Wisconsin hadn't gone to a Republican since 1984. Okay? Michigan, occasionally, but most of the time goes to Democrats. Pennsylvania, most of the time goes to Democrats. She lost in 3 states that typically go to Democrats. By the way, Trump had the worst favorability of any presidential candidate in the history of this country. So let's not forget how embarrassing and catastrophic her loss was. And it was on the same exact things that we're hearing now. Trump is, a return to normalcy, or in Hillary Clinton's case, continuing the Obama legacy, and we can't let this freak show in the White House, and he's un-American, and he's the Antichrist. And I'm not saying those things are not true. I don't want Donald Trump to get reelected. That's why I'm so fiercely saying iceberg right ahead. Because you cannot win with make things normal again. That's not what people want. Yes, people want Trump out, but people want to get their wages increased. If you remember, in the midterms, the number one voting issue was health care. People want cheaper health care, and a majority of people want universal health care through the government. MSNBC and CNN could slice it however they want and cherry pick the polls to say they don't, but the majority of polls indicate people want Medicare for all. People don't just want a return to whatever their definition of normalcy is, because Morning Joe's definition of normalcy and the Democratic Party's definition of normalcy is neoliberalism and the corruption being behind closed doors rather than out front, where you see it live and in your face with this president. That's what restoring the soul of America means. So I don't know how any objective, forget if you're progressive or conservative, just sane, objective political minds are saying this stuff on television with a straight face. I don't know who they're talking to, but just says, I just want to return to normalcy, just make America boring again. That's not gonna, it's not go, honestly, if they start running on make America boring again, you are going to reelect this president in probably a landslide. If Joe Biden, because Joe Biden is not really running on any flagship policies, I'll throw in a public option, whatever that means. I don't think it's a real public option. Let's expand on Obamacare. Again, this doesn't mean anything. He's talking about bringing back these, lost era of, bipartisanship, and I could get Republicans to work with me. Yeah, you might be able to get Republicans to work with you to do neoliberal, milquetoast, regressive stuff and brand it as a victory for America. That's not what we want. So, I don't know. Doesn't look that promising to me. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.